One's ready. One's ready. Go!
Hey everybody, welcome back to the One's Ready podcast. This is your daily drop for the 25th of April. If you are interested in joining us at the Operator Training Summit in June, it is June 21st and 22nd in San Diego, La Jolla to be specific, but it's in San Diego. It's going to be an instructorship, mentorship event. You can expect, we've got, let's see if I remember right here, I think we have 12 hours of pool time scheduled on that Sunday. So we're going to be starting really early in the morning, and we're going to be going until I think 6 to 6 is what we're going for. So lots of pool time, and that's really what you guys want. Sure, you want time with Taylor Starch, who obviously is a world-renowned freaking mobility expert and strength expert, who's going to take you through running and rucking, and we'll go through attributes, and we're going to go through all kinds of stuff at this event. So if you're interested in it, leave us a comment below, tell us that you're interested, or you can reach out to jared@onesready.com and we'll get you signed up. You can join the chat. There's plenty more details in there, and you can secure your spot that way. All right. If you are new here, this news that I'm about to read to you and go over is sent out and curated by Public Affairs of the Department of the Air Force, and then disseminated to all the commanders and the chiefs around the Air Force. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through it, and then I'll give you any kind of insider baseball or opinions based on it. And if I don't have any, guess what? I don't have any. And especially when it comes to the space stuff, I'm just out of my league. Like, let's be honest. So, all right, here it is. Joint news. Defense Innovation Unit expansion. The Defense Innovation Unit is establishing 3 new hubs in Kentucky, Minnesota, and Montana to enhance collaboration with technology companies and universities. These hubs aim to connect local businesses with DoD funding supporting American innovation as directed by the Senate Armed Services Committee. This is a good thing, in my opinion. This goes right back into bringing jobs back to America, being organically sustainable and organically able to keeps things here and not rely on other countries. I mean, COVID was a prime example of this. So was it the Suez Canal when that ship got blocked in there for a while? If we were making semiconductors here and microchips here and medical supplies here, then we wouldn't have had to rely on anybody else. So I think this is a good thing. Next, transgender medical care has resumed. The Defense Department will reinstate gender-affirming care for transgender service members following a federal appeals court ruling in California. The policy allows appropriate care, including hormone therapy and counseling, despite attempts by President Trump and Secretary of Defense Hexeth to ban transgender service. I don't know. I in the past, I had talked about how I think it was 60 days they had to depart and choose whether or not they were going to continue their care or not. I thought that was a little bit too aggressive in terms of the service members that were seeking that kind of care. But at the same time, I thought it may have been 120 days. I gotta be honest, I don't know how I feel about the American taxpayers funding what they're calling gender-affirming care and hormone replacement therapy and counseling to members who have secret and top secret clearances that deal with a lot of things within the Air Force and the service as it is. And then, yeah, anyway, this is going to go into a whole nother thing if I keep going, and then it'll end up into an hour-long podcast, which maybe you guys wouldn't actually mind, but I don't have the time for, and that's not the point of the daily drop. So, all right, moving on. Hexeth's Signal app controversy. Reports indicates Defense Secretary Pete Hexeth used Signal app on a personal computer connected to a commercial internet provider in his Pentagon office. I do the same thing, and I'm doing the same thing right now. Let's see. Commercial internet provider in his Pentagon office, though he denies using it on government systems. I don't think you can use Signal on government systems. I mean, I haven't tried, but usually these government systems are locked down to where you can't just download, you can't download unauthorized or unapproved apps or programs onto the computer because the Air Force or the DoD firewall stops you from doing it. Like, I'd be amazed if you could do that on Signal. And if so, I need to up my game. But interesting. Hexeth claims information shared via Signal about Yemen airstrikes was unclassified and related to media coordination. Oh, man, I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired of talking about this Signal thing. Hexeth denies makeup studio claims. What? Defense Secretary Pete Hexeth refuted allegations that he converted the Pentagon's green room into a makeup studio, calling the report false. Pentagon upgrades to the briefing room include routine furniture modifications, including recycled items like a chair, mirror, and makeup light. Okay, so he's refuting it, whatever. Like, I don't really care anyway, to be honest. Like, but he came from Fox News, so he is used to makeup and studio and all that kind of stuff. Like, there are plenty of podcasters. We don't, right? Unless Aaron and Trent are putting on powder that I'm not aware of. We don't wear any kind of makeup or powder or anything like that. But there are for sure other podcasters do. I know that Ross Patterson from Drinking Bros, he powders up before he goes on. He said he does. Now, maybe he doesn't do it every time, but he for sure has said multiple times that he puts powder on before he hops in front of the camera, and that's just so you don't have the shine on your face or nose or whatever it is. But I don't know, man. Is that really a big deal? Maybe, maybe not. But he says that he didn't do it, so whatever. Air Force News, F-16 Super Squadron in South Korea. The Air Force will deploy a second F-16 quote-unquote Super Squadron at Osan Air Force Base, South Korea, adding 31 fighters and 1,000 airmen to enhance combat readiness. The innovative tests force generation, or the initiative tests force generation capabilities, showing increasing sortie rates and readiness despite some challenges. 31 fighters. That's a good chunk of fighters going over there. That's awesome. Man, I have met people that love being over there in Korea and people that hated it. I think it's in what you make of it. So those additional 1,000 airmen that are going over there, have fun, enjoy yourselves, be in the moment. All right. Cheaper CCA drone options. The Air Force is exploring more affordable, less sophisticated collaborative combat aircraft, or CCA drones, compared to current prototypes, aiming for a range of capabilities. Major General Joseph Kunkel suggested integrating CCAs with platforms like the E-7 Wedgetail and the B-21 Raider, potentially for independent operations. Of course, why wouldn't you do that? It shouldn't just be the F-35s or whoever that are controlling or fighting with these CCAs. There should be a multitude of people, especially when you start talking about a B-20 or a E-7, right? Because you're going to have a bunch of people that are in the back there that aren't also flying a jet, having to worry about, threat and avoidance and threat detection and that kind of stuff. You have somebody in the back that is dedicated to flying that CCA and working with that CCA. Same with the B-21 Raider. So to me, it's a no-brainer, but what do I actually know about anything? Stunt pilot crash at Langley. An aerobatic pilot died in a plane crash at Joint Base Langley, Virginia, ahead of a scheduled airshow performance. The National Transportation Safety Board is investigating the incident, which occurred despite prompt response from base first responders. That's sad to hear. Unfortunately, those things happen more often than not, just because, they're doing some wild stuff at these air shows, and some of these planes are old, and you kind of get complacent. You're hot dogging, having a good time, and it can go bad. I'm not saying that that's what happened here, but that sucks. All right, Vice President Vance visits Ramstein. Vice President J.D. Vance visited Ramstein Air Force or Air Base in Germany, serving beer to service members and touring a C-130 Hercules during a layover. Vance praised the troop sacrifices, joined by senior Air Force commanders who welcomed the vice presidential family. Bro, dude is back there serving beers. That's awesome. That's awesome. Could you imagine any other vice president doing that? Like, come on. Like, that's pretty bro level. That's awesome. Agile Combat Employment Challenges, a RAND Corporation study identified understaffing, inadequate training, and confusion over mission-ready airmen as barriers to the Air Force's Agile Combat Employment strategy. The report highlights the need to standardize training and proficiency to ensure combat readiness. Yeah, it's, there's a lot of confusion, and there's a lot of confusion behind mission-ready airmen, but I also, granted, I'm not in it anymore, I'm retired, but it definitely feels like there has been a momentum shift behind mission ready airmen and agile combat employment. Like, that was a big thing the last 5 years. That's a massive thing. And now it's just kind of like, I just don't hear it that often. It's interesting to see the kind of ebbs and flows of terms and ideas as we go through the years. So, all right, transitioning to Space Force news. The SDA hires integrator for the Tranche 3. The Space Development Agency contracted SAIC for $55 million to manage engineering and integration for Tranche 3 of the Proliferated Warfighter Space Architecture, ensuring timely delivery. SAIC's role includes technical reviews and trade studies, applying lessons from earlier tranches to maintain schedule. Cool. $55 million, that's a drop in the bucket. Whew. All right, TRL boot camp completion. The Space Force and Aerospace Corporation completed the first technology readiness level boot camp, focusing on in-space servicing, assembly, and manufacturing. The program, run by SpaceWorks, helps companies bridge commercial and military applications with next iteration planning for tactical responsive space. Cool. I don't even know what that is or what that means. And if you guys do, leave a comment, because I do learn. There have been several people that have dropped comments for things that I just am not quite tracking on here. And so I learned something. So it's good. All right. These are of interests. Reserve troops, obesity concerns. Yeah, well, there's some active duty obesity too. So over 2/3 of National Guard and Reserve personnel are overweight. 2/3? Oh my God, dude. I wonder what the numbers are in active duty, because everybody makes fun of the Air Force, but I'll tell you what, Navy is by far the fattest and the most obese. Then probably the Air Force, then the Army, then the Navy. Space Force, I'm counting you in with the Air Force. So, because there's only, like 9,000 of you. All right. Over 2/3 of the National Guard and Reserve personnel are overweight, raising readiness concerns, according to the American Security Project report. The study urges tailored DoD policies to address unique logistical and lifestyle challenges for part-time service members. Man, I don't think, give me that money that you guys are paying for that study. Like, just give it to me. Give it to me, Aaron and Trent, and we can give you scientific data on what you're doing wrong, or what these people are doing wrong. They're sitting on their ass. They're eating bonbons all day long and not getting in the gym like CT Fletcher tells you to. You've got to get in the gym. You've got to eat healthy. You've got to, and it's not even about, everybody talks about the gym, about having a six pack and being able to run crazy amount of miles at a super fast pace. Yeah, if you want to go into special warfare or special operations, yes, that is a requirement. Not if you are going into the regular military. Now, if you're going to the regular military, guess what? You still need to be ready. You still need to be able to respond to a car accident, a plane crash, an incident that's happening. I don't know. Maybe it's a mentality thing with me, but I don't know that I would forgive myself if there was an accident or somebody needed me and all I needed to do was to sprint over there, grab somebody and pull somebody out of a car, or go subsurface underwater and pull somebody out of a car, or save somebody from drowning. Just as simple as saving somebody from drowning. I don't know that I could ever forgive myself if I was not physically able to get in there and do that. And I think that more people need to have that mentality, especially if you have kids. What message are you sending to your kids by being a fat, overweight piece of shit. Yeah, that's right. I went that hard. All right, next, senators question Yemen strikes. 3 Democratic senators demanded Defense Secretary Pete Hexeth address civilian deaths in U.S. strikes on Houthi rebels in Yemen, questioning compliance with civilian harm mitigation practices. DoD is reviewing allegations amid criticism from Trump administration's urban targeting approach. Guess what? Houthis, Afghanis, Iraqis, terrorists, bad people lie. I can't tell you how many times there are 15-6s, and a 15-6, if you're not tracking, is an investigation. And every time we did a strike, did not involve a 15-6, right? But every time we did an airstrike or we hit a target, and you know, a lot of us had cameras on too, whenever cameras became a thing. Before that, we were just going out there without cameras. But every time people would say, we killed their goats, we killed their cows, we killed a person, right? We damaged their building. We, you know, yes, we would do breaches and kick down doors and stuff like that, but we would pay them on the spot with cash. Like, so people, they would just lie about stuff, and they would say that we killed the wrong people, or that we, you know, killed, you know, we'd go in there and we'd kill 2 people, and then they'd come out and go, hey, 13 were murdered in cold blood. And it's like, dude, they were all lies. So forgive me if I kind of look at the senator questioning the Yemen strikes and go, yeah, I just don't believe it. So next, transgender ban. Supreme Court appeal. The Trump administration asked the Supreme Court to allow a ban on transgender military service, arguing it affects readiness despite lower court rejections. Federal judges have ruled the Pentagon failed to substantiate claims that the transgender service members harm military effectiveness. All right, moving on. U.S. space strategy warning. A new space Nexus report warns that the institutional incoherence and lack of national direction threaten U.S. space superiority as China advances. It calls for urgent action to address regulatory gaps and enhance interagency collaboration to maintain American leadership in space. We are behind. We do need to ensure that the U.S. has space superiority. And China right now is beating us. So, and we can't do better if the Space Force doesn't have more than a 3% budget increase. Like 3% of the DoD budget, of the defense budget, is the Space Force. 3%. Like, why are we still buying tanks? Please tell me that. We have enough tanks right now. The M1 Abrams is still the best tank that has ever existed, and it still dominates the battlefield. Why do we need more right now? We need to bump up, like, we need the agility to bump up, agility and flexibility to bump up and decrease funding from the defense budget for certain things. Like, ships are expensive. The Navy needs ships. The Navy needs boats, subs. You know, the Air Force needs planes. Space Force needs rockets and satellites. That shit's expensive. So, all right. Let's see. DUI case involving Air Force officer. A Colorado jury is deliberating the case of a driver accused of killing Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Matthew Anderson in a DUI crash at a gas station. The defendant admitted to drinking before the crash, but claimed no memory of the incident, with deliberations ongoing. Man, if you guys are out there partying, enjoying some beverages, enjoying some substances, like, right on, man. That's good for you. Have fun with it. But to hop in a car and drive is so selfish, because so many bad things can happen. And like, I'm friends with a family that lost she was 18-year-old daughter from she was the drunk driver was 18 years old, and she was in her 20s, and she lost her life. She was an airman here on Nellis Air Force Base, and she lost her life because that dude was drinking and smacked into her and her sister, and she died. Her sister lived. And it's just terrible. And you have Lyft, you have Uber, you have taxis, you have people you can call. Believe me, they would come pick you up. No questions asked. Just don't drive. Like, come on, people. All right, that's it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you are interested in the Operator Training Summit, let us know. Later.